Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Ryan Routh. This is the man who was stalking Donald Trump outside of the West Palm Beach Golf Club back on September 15th and was subsequently arrested. He was charged with attempted assassination amongst other crimes. His case is currently being fought out to see if the United States federal government's going to prosecute it or Florida is going to prosecute it. Anyways, a Miami grand jury returned an indictment on Tuesday. It added 3 counts to the weapons charges that Routh was currently being held on. The new counts include attempting to assassinate a presidential candidate, possessing a firearm in furtherance of a violent crime, and assaulting a federal officer. The Secret Service agent who discovered him lurking in the tree line earlier this month. The attempted assassination carries a maximum prison sentence of life. He had already been charged as a convicted felon in possession of a firearm, and the gun serial number had been obliterated. Court records were showing that Routh had waited outside the fence line of Trump's golf course for nearly 12 hours on September 15th. Other reporting I had heard, and it's in here too, that he arrived in Florida a month before the incident, and based on his cell phone records, he had spent time casing both the golf course and Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. So basically, he was kind of like lying in wait, seeing if he can get an opportunity. So this wasn't like he had planned it and knew a date and a time that Trump would be golfing, because I know people have asked that. No, it's just like, he might be golfing here today. Let me basically, at midnight, goes out in the tree line. He's going to hang out there till dusk to see if Trump comes by golfing. And if he doesn't, well, packs his stuff up and goes back to his car and goes about his business. The case was randomly assigned, and Judge Cannon gets the case. Isn't that interesting? I'll be really curious to see how quickly she can move on a case like this rather than, the Mar-a-Lago documents case, where she seemed to take her darn sweet time. So let's take a look at the energy around this. Trump and his team want Ron DeSantis in Florida to prosecute it, saying the government has a conflict of interest. We'll see how that plays out. Okay, so entertainment purposes only. Come on down. Let's take a look at the energy of this case with Judge Cannon. How are things going to work now with Judge Cannon as the judge overseeing this case? Entertainment purposes only. Foundation of the reading is the 6 of Swords. Moving on. Now, she might be moving on, too. I wonder if she needs to recuse herself. But here we go. 6 of Swords crossed by the 10 of Swords and the Page of Pentacles. Interesting. It's not like she's going to take this case and kill it. That wouldn't make any sense. Because, I would assume that you want to prosecute this. There's a Page of Pentacles. There's some messaging going on. I don't know if she would delay or be asked to leave. There's almost asking like, she might be taking, she may be taken off this case. And the reason being is that with the Mar-a-Lago documents case with Jack Smith, that appeal is going to be heard fairly shortly. And if she's removed from that case, it may then put an end that she cannot be on any case involving Donald Trump, because she's shown she can't be unbiased. So in some ways, the lawyers for Mr. Routh will be making filings saying that this case needs to move out of her court or out of this jurisdiction. This could also be the feds coming in too. I don't think Judge Cannon's going to get to sit on this case, is where I'm coming with it. In the past, you got the King of Pentacles. Yeah, it's kind of the taking care. There's money and influence that's been coming in impacting Judge Cannon such that she doesn't rule impartially. Current situation is 7 of coins. Again, I do think that this is going to, whether you're looking at money or values or that appeals court, there's an assessment going on with this process. Should she stay on the case? Overarching energy is the 2 of cups. Again, through the appeal process, through the defense and the prosecution, just what's, it's not only what's fair for the victim, in this case Donald Trump, but also what's fair for the accused, in this case the shooter. The lesson to be learned is the 9 of Swords. I think this guy's got he's got some mental health issues. There's no doubt about that. And maybe the whole thing is that it may not matter because, he has to get a mental health evaluation before he goes to court. But I think there's just going to be some agreement here about Judge Cannon not being able to be impartial when it comes to Trump. Queen of Cups. I think they're going to put a lid on this case with her. I do not think she's going to get to adjudicate it. She doesn't get to rule on it. She doesn't get to sit and hear this. I realize it's been assigned to her, so that's the way it's going to go now. Since it's now come up, let's ask if Routh and his attorneys are successful in asking for Judge Cannon to recuse herself or somehow getting the case out of Judge Cannon's courtroom. Okay. Will Routh and his attorneys be successful in getting this case out of Judge Cannon's courtroom? One more time through. Okay. Let's see now. Little 4-carder. 3 of Cups. There's going to be some celebration or success. Okay. What does that mean? Page of Swords. 5 of Swords. 4 of Swords. King of Swords. Yeah, what I'm thinking here is the 3 of Cups is going to be the celebration for Jack Smith's appeal, because you got my King of Swords, which is my Jack Smith's card underneath here. When it goes to the appeals court, there's going to be a winner-takes-all type approach. I do think they're going to remove her from that case and any future cases involving Trump. She is not allowed to be on here. She has shown that she doesn't know what she's doing, and she basically needs to go back to judge school. She, taken off the case so she can sit down and think about it. Or more to the point, she's put on ice. Yeah. As I read on this, there's going to be success. It's going to be taken out of her courtroom. She's not going to be allowed to rule on this because she's biased. And, what she's done would indicate that. I was going to throw on how quickly will she move on this case, but I don't think she's going to get to really sit on it for too long. Maybe a different question. How will Judge Cannon react to this case if she's removed from this case? And I'll throw an if in there because I could be misinterpreting the cards through my bias. Although the way the cards are coming, that's what makes the most sense from what I understand is the facts of the case with other things that she's ruled on. She's already been taken to task by the appeals court once with her special master ruling, and Jack Smith seems to have a litany of stuff that she could be taken to task for with the Mar-a-Lago documents case, which should be an open and shut, very simple case to rule on. And she's just made a mess of that case. Why would you let her then take on a presidential pew-pew case? Why? That's going to be difficult. That's going to be nebulous compared to a documents case, which is purely evidence-based. How will Judge Cannon react to this? Queen of Cups. Oh, which was the outcome on that other one. Queen of Cups, keeping things locked in. High Priestess. Queen of Pentacles. Justice card. Empress. Look at all these female cards. Good heavens. How is she going to react? She's going to have to keep her mouth shut. That's what she's going to have to do. Learn to live with disappointment. You know, she's taking care of Trump this whole time. And there's just... It's like Trump is like her baby. How does she keep ending up with all these Trump cases? Her decision making is suspect. And again, with the appeals court over here countering it, it's if she could rule fairly, she'd be able to keep this case and go on with it. But there's just... She may fight to keep it. It's worth it to her that she may be paid to push to keep onto this thing. If she doesn't, she's not going to make a big scene out of it. These are calm female cards. You know, again, it's keeping your emotions in check, finding practicality with things. You know, showing a divine feminine wisdom, although this is more the gossipy, secretive High Priestess. Justice is here. I just don't think she's... she won't make a big stink out of it. Because in the end of the day, regardless who handles this case, it's going to get prosecuted. Now, if there were some type of conspiracy involving Mr. Routh and Mr. Trump, then they would want her to stay on the case. Rather than let the feds dig. But I don't think you're going to find that with this guy. This guy is just, you know, he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You know, he's the type of person, he's the exact reason why Democrats want common sense gun laws, you know, registrations and things like that. This is the exact person they don't want to have a firearm, much less an AK-47 like rifle in his hands. He's been arrested numerous times, lots of brushes with the law. You know, he's unstable. He is unstable. Okay, lastly, in the battle between the feds and Florida, will the feds get jurisdiction over this case? And maybe that's why we have that Six of Swords with Judge Cannon, is that the feds get jurisdiction over the case to prosecute it. Maybe it stays in her courtroom. Maybe it does stay in her courtroom because it's a federal courtroom. So yeah, I guess it would stay there. Will the feds be able to take over the prosecution rather than Florida? Knight of Swords. Racing in. Somebody, you know, that racing in is they charging, trying to fight to see who gets control of the case. Crossed with the Eight of Swords. Things being tied up in the courts. And Temperance. These are both sides racing, trying to tie the other one up. And it's just going to end up going... This is just going to be something that's also fought in the courts. You know, I think Florida wants to keep the feds out for whatever reason. You think Florida want the feds to do it, that way they save money. But, hey, you know... I mean... There's got to be something going on that I don't understand, because unless there's like a conspiracy, I don't understand why the Florida would care if the feds do it or not. Unless, you know, somehow they feel like the feds are going to let this guy off. I don't think that's going to be the case. You know, the Biden administration, the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, he's not exactly soft on crime when it comes to stuff like this. I wouldn't have said the same with Bill Barr if somebody tried to take a shot at a Democratic candidate. In the past, we've got the black cat of laying down on my mat. Hello, Nico. Did you wake up from your nap and now you need lots of love and attention? Do you know I'm doing a reading on Judge Cannon and the feds and who's going to get to rule on this case? Do you care? Do you find it amazing? I'm going to have to title this, I'll lay Chat Noir video. Okay, my friend, I'm going to have to ask you to act as my card table here. So in the past, we got the Two of Pentacles, weighing, balancing as to who's got the jurisdiction, who's got the resources to prosecute this case. Current situation is the Four of Wands. Both sides want it. Whether it's the glory or the ability to do it, both sides want it. Overarching energy is the King of Cups. There's going to be a ruling on it that's like, you know what? Come on, let's be reasonable here. We're not fighting over this like kids. We're all professionals here. The lesson to be learned is the Star card. We're all professionals here. Whether the feds handle it or Florida handles it, it's going to get handled one way or the other. The outcome is the Eight of Wands in the messaging. I didn't think that they would decide this court case quickly, but it's entirely possible that the court case is decided quickly. And again, maybe it's decided quickly if... decided quickly is a relative term when we come to the legal sphere. If Trump loses the election, what are they going to fight over at that point? If you're trying to do it to protect Trump or make sure this guy gets prosecuted, what are you going to fight over? That Eight of Wands could also be they do a mental health evaluation on the guy and quickly find out that he's not mentally fit to stand trial. So it doesn't matter if the feds want to prosecute it or the state of Florida wants to prosecute it. It would be irrelevant because the person's just not capable of doing it. Yeah. I think in the end of the day, there's a big hullabaloo about a whole lot of nothing with this. We'll see how it turns out. My impression is I don't see a great conspiracy with Ryan Routh. What I see is some guy who has a bee in his bonnet and he's kind of like a crusader type. He gets an idea in his head and that becomes his purpose in life. So he looks like a person who's been searching for a big purposeful meaning to his life. And then when he thinks he knows what it is, he jumps in with both feet. He doesn't really have the skill set needed to do what he wants to do, but he has the determination to do it. How to describe that? It's like he doesn't know what he's doing, but he's going to plow ahead and do it anyways. Now, he's the kind of guy who's going to try and build a log cabin, even though he's never built a log cabin in his life. But he has an idea in his head, because he played with Lincoln Logs as a kid, how it's going to work. And now he's going to build log cabins to solve the housing crisis in the United States. That sort of thing. It's like this grandiose, great plan. But then it's like, well, his execution is lacking because he doesn't know what he's doing. He seems to have a history of that, and I suspect there's a lot of mental illness behind it. So he may not even be considered sane enough to stand trial. All right, we'll leave it here. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. Nico appreciates it too, don't you? Meow, 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 meow. I hope you found this reading insightful. It is for entertainment purposes only, and I'll catch you on the next video. Say goodnight. Say goodnight, Gracie. All right, take care, everyone. Good night. Ugh.